So how do you stop procrastinating? And step by step, right? If you're watching this, I get it, you're an expert procrastinator. I was definitely one too. I was preparing for a Chinese TEDx. I would do everything to stop myself. I would manage businesses, I'd get overwhelmed, I'd do anything apart from the important tasks I need to do. So I get that you know what you need to do, but you're just not doing it. So how do we do this in a step-by-step system that actually works? Okay, so I'm going to go through this, I'm going to fly through this nice and quick, I'm going to give you some tools. It's going to really help you and enable you to overcome procrastination consistently. So the first step is you need to identify the type of procrastination that you have. Are you a avoider? Are you a dreamer? Are you the perfectionist? You want to find out, looking at the types of procrastinator that you are, and then we want to identify why you procrastinate. Because if you can understand why you procrastinate, is it a fear of failure? Is it that you feel completely overwhelmed and you don't know where to start? Because if you can identify that, it helps you better solve it. So you want to really spend some time and think about, where do I procrastinate most and why does that actually happen? And then we want to come on to probably the most important bit, which is interrupting the pattern, right? What do I mean by interrupting the pattern? What happens with procrastination is you go down a downward spiral, right? You kind of know what you should do. I'll just do this for 5 minutes. And then an hour later, you realize, oh my God, I got completely lost in whatever it is, right? I'm not sure what your chosen type of procrastination is. However, I'm sure you're an expert at it. So how do we interrupt this pattern? Well, let's go through an example. Let's say you're feeling completely overwhelmed. You've got all these different things going on and you're about to start procrastinating, right? You want to ask a question to redirect your focus, because when we're feeling these negative emotions, often we choose to do something to alleviate the emotional issue that we're experiencing. So let's say you're feeling overwhelmed, you've got too much on. You can ask a question to help direct you back on track. So instead, you could ask a question like, how can I appreciate the perfection of this moment right now? Okay, I'm here. I am feeling a little bit overwhelmed. I've got a lot of different options on, but I know what I'm doing. I've got a clear focus. There's different tasks that need to get done. And suddenly what's happening is you're moving from overwhelm and you're branching to something different. Right? You're looking for a different emotion. Maybe it's determination. Maybe this is becoming more clear on what you want to do. But suddenly it just helps alleviate that, right? So questions are a fantastic way to help redirect your focus. Let's use another example. When you're stressed out, things are stressing you out, you don't know what to do, and you are wanting to do anything but. What I really recommend to people is, especially nowadays, to get a mini trampoline. Now, what do I say this? Well, a mini trampoline allows you to rebound. So you can go up and down 5 minutes and it just alleviates things. You can go for a walk, you can go for a little run, whatever you do something to change that state. Because when we're feeling frustrated, we're tense, our mind shuts down, we can't think as clearly, we start to do things differently than if we were to be ready and rearing to go. So you want to make sure that if you're experiencing these types of things, that you have these alternatives, and I'll move on to them later. Right now, we're just interrupting that pattern. So go for a walk, go for a jump, do whatever you need to do to get you out of that pattern before you go down in the downward spiral, right? Another one is, let's say you're used to looking at your phone, all the notifications, emails coming through, like Facebook, WeChat, I don't know what it is, right? A great thing is if you've got a task to do, you get your phone, interrupt the pattern. Put it in the middle of the floor, flip it upside down so you can't see the notifications, put it on silent. Suddenly, you're not going to have that. You're interrupting that pattern of constantly checking and looking at the vibrations. Because if your phone vibrates, you can ignore it once. If it vibrates twice, then you're going to start to look at it and now you're distracted and you're just not being fully focused and you're procrastinating on what you really want to do. And it's so easy, especially when you've got a tough task, to look at your phone, check different things, but you're procrastinating on what you really want to do. So there are just a few ways in which you can interrupt that pattern. So then the question is, how do we install more empowering alternatives? Because the truth is that interrupting is one thing, but we then want something else that we could do. So powerful questions, right? I spoke about questions previously in interrupting the pattern, but a great question for a procrastinator to ask yourself. I mean, if you want to procrastinate, don't ask yourself this question, right? That is, what is my next step? What is just the next step that I need to do right now? Because suddenly it just completely redirects your focus. Okay, my next step is what, and you just focus on the next step. We procrastinate when we're overwhelmed looking at everything. Instead, we're just looking at something that's very quickly, what's my next step? And it can help you move forward. Maybe you put a reminder on your desk. You say, is this working on the business right now? Is this an important task for me? Am I working to the best of my ability right now? You put sticky notes, you put questions. You see it, it acts as a reminder. Am I working? No, I'm not. I probably should, refocus right now. It's these small little alternatives and these reminders that help keep you on track. Another one you can do is a little trade-off. Say, right, if I finish this, I'm going to chill out for half an hour. I can do whatever I want, but I'm going to do that. So I'm going to do this and get that. It's a sort of trade-off. It works well to begin with. Right? You can say, okay, once I finish this, I'm going to do that, and you can reward yourself. And that means that you're just actually experiencing, actually following through, right? Really, really important. Another thing to think about as an alternative is if you're not doing a task, think about those reasons. Maybe write the reasons down why you're building a business. And maybe you have it on a vision board to the right, and you can look at it and you say, okay, this is why I'm doing it. And now suddenly it doesn't matter what the task is. You know you're going to follow through because you have those reasons, and suddenly you've got that I'm going to do this mentality, and you have that determination. Because sometimes as entrepreneurs, we feel motivated and demotivated. Instead of challenging you to feel inspired and have these alternatives to make you feel inspired to help you move forward. Right, one other thing you could do, take a 5-minute break, put that into your schedule, have that alternative in there so you've got the time to relax. If you have your schedule back to back during the day and you have no breaks, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to move forward. Okay, so let's clarify where we are right now. You've identified the pattern. You understand why you're procrastinating. You've got some ways to interrupt the pattern, and you've got some empowering alternatives. Now, the last step, by far most important, okay, that is using the power of business identity. What do I mean by this? Well, I want you to imagine that you are the person that you want to be. All business owners would love to be able to get to a stage where they are their best business owner they could possibly imagine. I want you to think right now and write this down. Maybe don't procrastinate on this. What are the traits of the business owner you would love to become? How would they deal with procrastination? What would they do differently? How would they relax? What would they do? And by thinking about this, what you're doing is you're thinking about who you must become and the traits they have from a procrastination standpoint, and you're looking into installing them into yourself now. This brings everything together, and suddenly procrastination is a thing of the past. That's not something you do, right? Do you think that Richard Branson struggles with procrastination? Steve Jobs, right? You think of the big CEOs, they've overcome it. Yes, everyone procrastinates from time to time here and there, but it's not something that's so debilitating that it stops them moving forward. And that's really the key here. So you want to tie that business identity and have something on the wall, right? I am a business chief extraordinaire, right? I am the $1 million business owner. I am $1 billion business owner. I'm not sure where your business is, but you start installing this identity into yourself, you're going to be thinking in a completely new way. The way in which you approach things will be completely different. So if you've enjoyed this video, I recommend download the worksheet. Make sure you've got that worksheet on procrastination to start helping you actually do the exercises to overcome your procrastination. Because knowledge is one thing, but implementation is everything else. The other thing is that if you haven't already, check out the Entrepreneurial Lifestyle Accelerator. This is our signature program that helps many entrepreneurs around the world who are struggling with procrastination, with overwhelm, helping them really move forward. You've got to check it out. It will change your life in so many different ways. With that said, thank you for listening to the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to overcome that procrastination. Don't procrastinate on overcoming procrastination. I look forward to chatting to you soon.